Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Paul Tranny here with the one and only Victoria Siemer for day 2. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is good. So I think it's fun. We've had you work on a fun project yesterday. Maybe we'll take a look at that. I think we're going to switch it up today. But again, we have a full day of creating essentially in mostly Photoshop. And I think it's fun having all these designers and illustrators as we take a look at your, let's take a look at that. This is what you worked on yesterday. You can actually keep it up.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't sure if I should do like a big reveal.
Okay, here's your big reveal.
We made this weird space cowboy.
Space cowboy.
in Photoshop yesterday using the timeline tool. So we figured out how to do some rotoscoping, and then we used some clipping masks and a bunch of blending options. Is that what it's, where you right click on the layer?
Those would be like layer styles.
Layer styles.
Yeah.
We also, this was another version of this.
Yeah, that happens. The crazy long group.
I was editing it yesterday, and of course I saved it weird. It's in a group. This group doesn't matter though. Goodbye.
Space cowboy, everybody.
So this is like another version of him. So this guy actually we did on accident, and I think I'm going to use this technique down the road for other stuff now. So a lot of my series have been based in totally botching something in Photoshop. And in this one, I was really obsessed with doing the textures, but I temporarily turned them off and then ended up liking what was under the textures better. Usually when I do a fill, the whole thing's filled in, but I kind of like having the glow only on these outer edges. And
and I think that's what's been fun about like your segment. And again, we're going all day today. So we have Victoria, we have you this morning here. I'm going to click through the schedule, and then I want to talk about everybody's projects, and this is going to be really fun. So yeah, let's just go through this.
It was not Puppet Warp. It was rotoscoping of an Adobe stock video.
Straight up video that we purchased, by the way.
Yeah,
so
I've got
knows.
them in here. But what's hysterical is, so we were using the preview yesterday to see if it was what we liked, and it turns out when you download the actual video, we didn't need to rotoscope it. It's a siloed, like it has an alpha channel, so you could just clipping mask into it and not edit it.
But it's good that you went through that process, because it's all about learning, so that's good.
Like, just for a quick, I guess, recap, for if anyone wants to know how to do this type of technique. Or do we need to switch to something else?
Yeah, I was just going to go over the schedule real fast.
Okay, let's do that first.
Let's do this real fast. So again, this is day 2 here on Adobe Live. Hopefully you'll join us, behance.net/live. Victoria Siemer, otherwise known as Witchoria, online on all the social medias. Nathaniel Dodson, otherwise known as Tutvid. And then Shauna Lynn's going to do some lettering. Jesse Thomas, Taylor Crisdale. Jess 3 basically getting into sort of more of the sort of marketing and messaging, which I think it's really fun as you look at the schedule, like how many different areas we dabble in, which is super fun, right? Because
I think this is the biggest variety I've seen in like a live session of like the types of challenges that we're doing.
And still all related as well, by the way, like, because you're definitely doing compositing with video and kind of pushing the limits of things. Nathaniel's awesome with tutorials. He did a sort of a double exposure thing yesterday, Shauna Lynn, with her lettering and all that stuff. And some marketing at the end of the day too. It all comes together. So thanks so much for joining us, Tim and Raphael and Daryl and Ramez. Good to have you here. So this... Yes.
Just, read in the chat. Hello, everyone
around
the world.
Let us know if maybe it's your first time joining us, or if you were here yesterday, as Tim mentions. Always just want to say hi to people. And who remembers the Space Cowboy from yesterday?
Yeah, I don't know who was here, but for those of you who weren't here, I think we can do like a 2-minute sort of recap on what that technique was, and then we'll move into some other timeline.
That sounds good. And I really love how you do this, because you're actively making all these decisions on what looks good, what doesn't, and things are kind of surprising you, and it's taking you different directions. Which
We're winging it together.
We're winging it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's the story of my life. So for this guy, even though it turns out I didn't actually need to rotoscope him, I'm going to show you guys a really cool thing in the timeline panel where I've already dragged I've dragged my video in. Let's pretend that this is just a video instead of my finalized piece. If you're in Window, Timeline, and then you create a video timeline, you've got a video that you kind of want to trace over. Go to Layer, Video Layers, New Blank Video Layer, boop. And then what you can do, and I want to see like frame by frame. I made this only 12 frames per second because I didn't want you guys to watch me rotoscoping all day long. And so I'm gonna pick a really like obnoxious color. Sorry for those of you that love pink.
Patricia's loving the cowboy. I do too. It's
I know,
super-
I was trying to switch it out for something else yesterday, but now I've become attached.
Because you, yeah.
So this layer is right above our video layer, and we're gonna go frame by frame and just like, we're gonna pretend this is a really good illustration. And then I'm gonna go to the next frame.
You're so good.
Was I on the right frame? Make sure the correct layer is selected. Lesson, oh, yeah, that was the right layer. Next frame, frame 1. I'm gonna do it again. Here's his little hat. Here are his arms, his legs, wow.
So hopefully that makes sense. It's a new video layer and you're drawing, you know, sort
It's
of
just,
frame by frame.
it's a blank video layer, so you can draw on top of your video without like hurting your video pixels. Oh, here's his, why is it? It's bugging out right now. I've got this little circle of,
Yeah, and that happens because really Photoshop's doing all this heavy lifting now with video, so.
yeah, it's not a huge fan. Anyways, so you would do all these frames in a much more detailed way than I am. Ooh. And then I'll do one more, just so you can kind of see his arm moving. And then when you hit play, you would see, I can turn off my video layer right here. And we've just got, like a rough frame by frame animation. So yeah, so we ended up doing that. I was using the fill tool, so I was selecting the silhouette of this cowboy and using the fill tool frame by frame, and then I did a clipping mask originally to put the texture in, but I deleted that out because now I like it like this better. And so I just right-clicked, I went into blending options, and I added an inner glow and an outer glow. And it's always fun to kind of like play around with these. We were discussing about how illumination works with different, like how light travels in different atmospheres. So when you have a more foggy or dusty atmosphere with either a lot of water particles in the air or dust particles or something that catches and refracts the light, you're gonna get a much bigger and like wide, well, not like that, but a much wider glow. But in this case, it would be a much less intense glow because there's nothing in the air that would really be catching the light.
And then I love, real fast, sorry. I loved how you did the inner glow because you have it can go from the outside edge in, or you can make it look like they have a soul where the glow's coming from the inside.
Yeah, so if we go to inner glow, there's so many fun little things in these panels to tinker around with, and they don't harm your pixels at all. And when I applied it to this, it applied it to this whole layer, so it's applying it to every frame. So we're not even like, you don't have to do the work frame by frame, where
Very cool.
if we were in like the more GIF style panel, what is that, the frame animation panel?
Yeah.
Instead of a video animation, you would have to actually apply it each time. Depending on how you set it up.
Yeah, but that's exactly for. You are right, and that's nice. It does it globally. And by the way, you can add as many layer styles on this as you want. So you can have your outer glow, you can have your inner glow going out. You can stack as many of those on top of each other as you want.
So that was what we did yesterday. Yes, and you can save your styles. I do that from time to time. So I've been doing these illuminated text pieces for a while now. So most of my settings are set up for one particular type of typeface, but I have to change them and tweak them every time I'm working with a different type of object, if you will. So
that's good. Yes, you could save those settings, all that stuff, because these layer styles, you could save those. And we can talk about some more things. So also what you will notice, there is the challenge tab. So essentially you can see that off to the side. Let's just kind of get everybody going here.
yes.
Is that cool? So you can see you're in the chat tab. You can go to challenge, and it's all about creating a health-related infographic using really Illustrator or Photoshop. And you could use these templates. So it's all about infographics today. And that's what Jess 3 is working on. They're working on infographics. So it kind of ties in with the segment happening later today. Anyway, so you have those infographics. You download those. Those are Illustrator. You could see how everything is laid out here. Here's just a couple of them. Again, I can take any one of these, add my own data, make up fake data. Same thing for this one. Dive in here, add your own fake data right in here, and export out that JPEG or whatever and upload it. So that's the challenge, and you can win Creative Cloud. And also we're gonna do a random giveaway today too.
Yeah, and I see, Axel, did you win a Premiere Pro pillow? Is that you posing with one? It looks like a little Premiere Pro pillow.
Oh, Axel,
Did you already win one?
That is cool. We gave away a Photoshop fuzzy plush pillow yesterday. Today we're doing posters though, as you can see. We can kind of hold this up, but
yeah,
it's beautiful.
This is a good giveaway.
You wanna check these out? Robzilla?
Is Robzilla in the chat right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Usually.
She does join us sometimes. Christine Heron, she's a former resident, Adobe Creative resident. And then we have Jing Wei. You like Jing's too, don't you?
Yeah, I really like this one. This is this new, well, not new, but this is a big trend in illustration style this year, this modern minimal approach. I've seen a lot of brands and also like microbreweries going for this type of design work on the cans. And
I like it. So again, you can win those, say in about 18 minutes or so is the plan. So welcome Bruno,
right.
Alexander, Axel with his fancy pillow already. All right, I'm gonna switch back to your screen.
So we're gonna, yesterday we focused on actually working with video in the timeline, but I think it would be cool to push it today and see how much we can actually animate still images to make them move in the timeline instead today. And so I've done this in the past. It was an exercise for like a new type of TBT, if you will, a throwback Thursday where you go back and we'll look at one today where you dig into a file from a couple years ago that usually it's horrible. It's horrible looking back.
Oh, is that what you're gonna do? Are you gonna show us a PSD?
Yeah, so it's not technically Thursday, but we're gonna look at an old one and then we're gonna animate it. So my new thing is I like taking things from the past, fixing my horrendous Photoshop files from 5 years ago, and then adding a twist to them by making them in motion. Because that's kind of the direction I've been going recently. And if I scroll through,
that's cool. So
there's been a few of them. Like this isn't an old one, but this is actually all done in Photoshop. This is just a still image with the motion faked by toggling on and off parts of the type. So I essentially edited the photo 3 times. One completely off, one on, and then one with the one word off. And so it kind of flips around in different in the different states. I'm trying to find.
So you can find this again on Witchoria on Instagram. That's where you are right
here's
now.
one. This was a still image from way back in the day, and then I redid it. I started it in Photoshop, and then I actually moved into After Effects, and that's how I got some of these like little wiggly guys. So I have that file open, so we kind of can look at that. This is another one where
That's cool.
super easy, just using the transform rotation and keyframing that. So it's been a hobby of mine to kind of go back through and just start adding motion to some of these. I also think we can get into this today where we are bringing in a time lapse and applying a kind of a crazy effect to it. So we're gonna bounce around today. Instead of focusing on one project, we're gonna I don't know.
And it's
do
fun
whatever we want, right?
I mean, you have like a zillion, Instagram followers, but it's fun to kind of peek, behind the scenes and see how these are set up.
So this
this is
one, you can
good.
see, like, even this one, like, I can see, like, look, I murdered some pixels here. I can see it.
Oh, is it right behind?
Like, you can see, I did not, I don't know why I'm using the mask. Oh, yeah, it's,
Right here. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
here we go. I don't even know why I was using these mask layers, because I deleted out all these pixels anyways. Like, come on. Yes, I do like to make cinemagraphs sometimes. I think that'll be one of the things we're gonna make. Whatever we make today, I'll try to make it loop so that I show you guys how to make a cinemagraph. It's a neat little trick where you're sort of splitting your video and making it so it loops with a little trick, which is pretty fun. So I had one to start with that I have not seen in quite some time. This monstrosity. I don't know if you see all these files. I don't know how old this is. This is probably from 2014.
I love it. I don't know.
Maybe 2013.
It's just very human. It's what my files will look like. Sometimes you're erasing pixels. Other times,
Like, I'm not even
in
sure,
the same
like,
layer.
what am I doing here? So what we're gonna do is, no, cinemagraphs aren't so difficult. It depends on what you're going for. Making things seamlessly loop, it can be tricky depending on what the setting is. So it looks really good with like fog, water sometimes, but it gets kind of weird looking if you're trying to blend like you'll see, because you're using sort of like one transition where you've got an opacity on top of like a translucent fade effect onto another image or video, and sometimes you'll see like a jump, and that drives me nuts. So I really only use it, I use it seldomly. Like, I know in which scenarios it works best, and we can play with that today. I was thinking about doing a geometric reflection, like one of these, where are they? Like one of these bad boys.
That's cool.
With video today, and that would be a good one because I'm gonna want that to loop perfectly. So what we're gonna do is manipulate it, and then we're gonna cut it and make it into a cinemagraph, which is fun. And then I can show you guys how to export it for Instagram and for like Twitter as a GIF. So, so yeah, let's go through. What did I do here? So I'm thinking this will be a really easy one. I just kind of want to make the rose like look like it's kind of bobbing and levitating over the head. So right now, like, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what the deal is with this. Let's take a look.
We're gonna pick it apart and see.
Under
Welcome,
pressure.
Freddie.
Like,
Good to
what-
have you here. Hello, Hector. Good to see you, my friend. Nathan.
Like, what am I doing here? Is this like part of her? Oh, I see. This is a.
Would you?
So let's like, so you guys can. I also have a black and white. Am I in? What's going on here?
No, this is.
Let's
This is
see.
good.
I don't even know what. I'm in grayscale, guys. Surprise, surprise.
Oh.
Let's see what it looks like in RGB. So I guess it doesn't really make a difference. The only difference is that this image of a rose is in
Has a
color,
little
and this was a public domain photo of a woman that I thought was kind of cool. And I did this thing for a while where I was, I guess, chopping people's heads off and putting flowers. Like, I don't know.
You know, like you do.
And so I see that all right.
This is good.
This is what? Like,
Welcome,
what is this
Donna.
gratuitous rectangle for? All right, so what I should have done is I'll use this, I'll keep this ellipsis. Oh, maybe not red. That looks a little,
Yeah, it looks a little scary.
make it a fun color.
Yeah.
So I can see now where I want to do the cut, and instead of doing whatever the heck I did here, I'm just gonna delete this out, because that's bad. I don't know what this is either. I'm just gonna delete that. I don't know why the curves were there. Yeah.
Where do you come up with these ideas? You're like, I think I'm gonna chop the head off this lady. I'm gonna replace her head with a flower.
I don't know. I think it's just like the flower and the rose were so feminine looking, and it just matched with the stem, like the neckline. I have no idea. This is my brain 5 or 6 years ago. This is like me looking at like a diary. We were joking about Mortified. This is like Mortified the PSD.
Mortified the PSD.
This isn't even a bad one. I've got another one I was trying to dig up to show you guys like how bad it used to be and how much
I would love
it's
to see
crazy
those.
to see how much your workflow changes the more you learn.
Well, and maybe some features like just weren't available at the time. Who knows?
Okay, so
I'll give you that.
I'm gonna keep this as a marker just so I kind of like remember where I wanted this chop. And what I'm gonna go through is I've got this, actually I'm not gonna worry about cutting that out. I've got this woman, and instead of doing whatever I did before where I was murdering pixels, we're gonna just add a layer mask. Boop. And then I'm gonna go through. For this, I don't really need a super soft brush, so I'm gonna keep it at like 85. And I'm just gonna...
Welcome, Emmanuel. Good to have you here, my friends. Curious where you're from. Let us know. We're here in beautiful San Francisco. You know, just messing with photos in Photoshop, painting in black.
So I'm actually, I'm just masking out. I'm erasing. So it's just, I have a black background. I usually...
Ooh, can you turn off that black background? I mean, just
Yeah, I can. It's just a
that's what it
fill
looks like.
layer, so I guess
Got
we
it.
can look at it this way. I just like to have that in the background because I wanted, back in the day, Instagram was square. So obviously I was making this a square image. Now I would actually probably prefer it to be more vertical because then you get more real estate on this bad boy.
That's true.
So this will be fun. Maybe I'll actually like, you know, sorry for those of you that have tuned in for my Instagram. I know I've been a little bit not on the gram, but maybe this week it'll be different.
You are Nigar's favorite Adobe Live guest.
Thank you.
I just like hearing you like talk out loud about just how you work is fun.
Oh, I like that I've already switched this. I like, my brain is not, I'm supposed to be talking out loud and telling you guys what I'm doing, and I'm going into like silent mode, just like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm noticing, and I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but the black in the background of this vintage image is not true black like my background, and there's a couple ways we could try just sampling this like kind of off black, but I can still see a line here and a line here. I don't know how to make it so you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's bothering me.
If you're not going to be using the timeline pen, you can probably
Oh
minimize
yeah,
that,
I can. Well, I am going to use it actually. We're going to make stuff move soon, but I'll close
Cool.
it out for now, and then I'll show you guys how to open it up.
Welcome,
case.
Lindsay from Illinois. Good to have
no.
you here. I think I saw somebody from Austin, Texas as well.
And then, all right, so what I am gonna do here is I turn my hardness back down because I want a really soft brush for blending my background layer with this, this sort of a little bit grainier black layer. It's just a scanned image, so it's just not, it's not a true black. I could have also just done a curves adjustment and made the blacks darker in this image, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. So I'm just gonna stick with my masking, and I like to use a big brush. I'm not gonna turn the flow down, and what you'll see is you can see that it's just kind of softening that line. So now you can't tell that I've sort of pasted an image with a black background on another black background that's slightly darker. And so now this is nice. And then I think I know what I did now. The reason that I had duplicated this woman and flipped her sideways is because I masked her skin into this. And I'm actually digging that technique. Also, if you guys wanted to actually like do this technique yourself, you could. I think it's smart to do the marker ahead of time because then I was able to just erase around what I wanted, and I already see like a mistake I made. But the nice thing about using masks is I can just paint back in that little piece that I had erased on accident, and the pixels are always there because I didn't actually delete any pixels like I did in the original file. So what we're gonna do now is I'll just like I'll pretend.
Vahid from Iran, welcome, my friend. Good to have you here. And Italy's in the house, San Antonio.
Wow.
More people saying, hey, you know, you're their favorite.
Hello.
So don't disappoint them.
Oh, God.
No, just joking.
Oh, God. So what I'm going to do here is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with shape layers, but I'm just going to slam an ellipse tool. I'm going to draw, you know, a circle. I don't know why I'm defaulting on a gradient, but we'll make it pink. Nope, still looks too much.
And that's just basically a vector.
Yeah, it's just a vector, and then I probably put it on an angle. I don't remember if I planned this out ahead of time or if I made the thing afterwards, but generally you would just draw it and then you can kind of adjust it to try to make it fit with the neckline, and we'll see if I generally... It was close. It's not exactly like the one I drew before.
Can you zoom in on that maybe just a little bit?
But you know what it is. It needs to be more on an angle.
So if you are just joining us, welcome. We have Peter Chan from Cambodia. I think I saw somebody from the...
I want to go to Cambodia so bad.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty awesome. Navajo Nation, Arizona, Randall. Good. So we have a challenge going on. You can check out the challenge tab. And also, you can see this little clock below us. In less than 3 minutes, we're going to go ahead and just do a random giveaway. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, okay, so I was pretty close. I mean, it's not, I actually like the one I had originally done better, but I just wanted to show you guys, if you want to do this, how to draw the circle, and then you kind of just use a transform. I always keep the show transform controls panel on. Some people work without it somehow. Yeah, I do work on I work on a touchpad. I'm a touchpad baby.
Yeah, you're all...
There's not a lot of, I guess it's not common. I also do the scrolling the way everybody hates. So when people touch my computer, and I have like the right click thing set up, it's set up like an old computer.
Those are my same settings.
Everyone who has the newer computers, it's like...
Where's the right click?
Right here. Like mine's like, this is how I...
Yeah,
you guys can't
I did
see.
change
Obviously, you guys can't see that. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my original one because I like it better than the one I just drew. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did before because that was a sneaky little trick. And I'm gonna...
Hello, Tyrone from Ottawa.
We don't actually need... I can just delete this layer mask because we don't actually need it. And so I'm just gonna flip this the way I did before, and I'm gonna try to figure out what I was doing. So I'm gonna use a clipping mask because this was a sneaky trick to actually use the skin texture in the ellipse I just made.
Boom.
Wow, see, it already looks pretty legit. And then I must have played with positioning. This is like a detective game.
Is it supposed to be flat, or is it supposed to be like hollow, like you're looking inside?
No, I made it like flat.
Okay.
Hollow would be this.
Like
this looks hollow. Yeah. See, what's weird is how
it starts to make it look fake now. Actually, I don't know
how you do the shading. So I don't know. Well, I mean, I like that it's the same grain though. I gotta start using stuff like techniques like this more often.
Do you use a lot of shortcuts?
I use X a lot because it toggles me back and forth. Oh, also this should have been black because I'm only erasing, unless it's black, it's gonna erase at like a weird translucence. I use X to toggle between black and white, and I use that especially with the eraser tool when I'm masking because it toggles between erasing and painting back in. So I use that all the time. I also use these brackets next to the P key, which if I'm in here, it sizes the brush. Woo, woo.
Yep.
So those are, and obviously like the save button, which I'll just do day 2, save. I don't know, yeah, I've got little ones, but I'm not, I know for a while I was trying to learn a shortcut a week. So that I would be more efficient. But like all things that I start to commit to, I did not stick with that shortcut.
We are interested. I'm interested in the shortcut you can't live without, aside from Command Z, which we all
It's got to
know and
be
love.
X.
Nathan likes Command J to like jump or duplicate a layer. You like
for me,
X?
it's X. It's toggling between these two. So a lot of my work going through, there's such an emphasis on using these mask layers to either do compositing or in my day to night, getting painting in the light for the illumination. And so it's just my go-to. Like it would take so long to click back and forth.
Yeah, that's good. Command V for the selection tool. That's awesome. Spacebar.
Spacebar is good. Spacebar is also good in the
know.
timeline. We'll be using that a lot because it's just going to autoplay our animation. So the next thing we have is if I disable this layer mask, we have this flower. I already took the time to cut it out, and I used a mask, so I don't have any qualms with what I did here, so I'm not going to redo it because I don't want you guys to have to watch me redo this, actually.
So yes, that.
I even filled in part of the rose here, or did I just erase it out? Oh, I erased it out. That's even sneakier.
But I like how you did this because that rose, it's the same angle as the head.
Yeah.
was.
So when I was picking this, because I think this is the second iteration of this type of thing that I did, I wanted to make sure that the positioning matched whatever I was compositing in. And I do this a lot with any sort of composite, is making sure that the perspective fits. Otherwise, the illusion is not
exactly
pulled off really well. There was another one to take a quick break way back in the day.
While you find that, we are going to do a giveaway. So you see the clock, the little timer disappeared.
Oh, it's time right now?
A random giveaway.
Perfect.
So get some chat or some hype in the chat if that works for everybody.
Yeah, hype it
Be
up.
Like, what up? I want a poster. I want this poster. I want that. Woo! You get all three. And,
so these posters
Victoria
are
will even
sick.
sign them. Just kidding. They're not. They're
They're not mine.
They're not even
They're
yours.
not my arts.
But yeah, so just some hype in the chat. That's how we just need to make sure somebody's at the other end of your keyboard. If we call out your name, we want you to be able to hear us because we know you're there. It is, yes, good. Poster hype for sure.
Hype, hype, hype.
And again, don't forget about the
If you guys can do like some speed puns, I would appreciate it. I don't know if there's like a
speed puns.
hype or no, I can't think of one for hype right like off the top
I
of
think
my
we
head.
should do, it has to be related to what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. There'll be plenty of puns throughout the. We have we've got an hour and a half.
If you want to get ahead in this, for the challenge, that's all I got. Ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, should we
Ahead.
mention the challenge again?
Yeah, if you want to get ahead today for the challenge, again, you're chopping off the head. That's
Get ahead.
That's the
come
pun.
on! I wish we had like a ding, like a bell every time we had a good pun.
Which way?
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
So yeah, we're doing posters today. Exclusive posters signed by Victoria. Not really, but delivered to your door from Gus's own hand.
This is my favorite
He
one.
will hop on a flight, go to your house, knock on your door, drop it off, and then quickly run away because he's kind of shy. Just kidding. And it looks like we have our winner drawn. You want to do the honors?
Milton Sands?
Milton Sands.
Sands. I always get so hard on the A.
As in sans serif.
Hello.
Milton, are you with us? Because you just won 3 awesome prints that were actually made
Milton.
on live
It's also
streams.
a good name. I've never met a Milton before.
I like Milton.
Yeah.
It reminds
Never
me
met a
of,
Milton I don't like.
Milton on, Office Space? Is that a Milton?
I don't know.
All right, Milton, hopefully you chimed in there. We just kind of see the chat moving pretty quickly. And congratulations. Well done, my friend. We're switching
So
back
this
to your
was
screen.
another, it was a
make me
super
sick.
easy,
Will
this
you
was
stop
a super easy one where I just took another vintage image. Well,
I
not
just
that vintage,
love
but
how
this-
creative you are.
I edited it so it looked vintage, and I made, the perspective matched this shot from an airplane, and one
make
thing
me
led
sick.
to another.
Will you stop it already?
So this is the same thing here. The flower matched.
So
Like,
that's
I don't
gonna-
know what came
I
first. It's like a
love it.
chicken or an egg. Like, did I see the body first or did I see the flower first? I'm unsure.
Victoria, we were talking last night, like your hobby is like learning new things and like this is what you do in your spare time as well as like, I mean
Yeah.
at work you're designing, you go home, you're designing and coming up with all these
big
crazy
nerd.
ideas.
I am a nerd.
And we get to benefit from it. So
Yeah.
thank you for being
I love doing
just
tutorials.
somebody that I envy, and I want to be like you when I grow up.
I did some this morning.
The what?
I've been so efficient because I'm on California time instead of East Coast time. So I woke up at like 5 o'clock California time, jumped right into the tuts.
Into the you did YouTube tutorials?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm
She
I wanna
never
make
stops
sure,
learning.
I want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about
Her
for you
hobby,
guys.
her hobby is like learning stuff. So thank you so much for joining us. You're doing the same thing. I like being able to pick apart this file.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do next is I want this bottom layer is black and white, so I want to make the flower black and white. So I'm gonna do an adjustment layer, and I'm gonna do, where is it? Black and white. I don't necessarily need to clip this in because it's not, the background is black and white, so I guess I don't. Usually I would do a clipping mask, and this would make it so only this layer is affected. But in this particular situation,
Yeah, it doesn't
it's
matter.
not really necessary, so it doesn't matter. So now I think I'm in a good place.
This
and
is for somebody with allergies in the springtime.
Yeah.
That's what the image is.
It was like, I need to get some allergy medicine. I feel like California's gonna sneak up on me.
You know what would be really cool with this? Just a random thought. Is if the texture of the flower was the same as the skin.
So what we would need to do for that, this is already a smart object, so it's actually gonna be a little bit easier. We need to do a Gaussian blur. Can I? Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know how blurred it would need to be, but it needs to look like a little tilt shifted. Like that matches a little bit.
Oh, so so the blur kind of matches.
Because this is out of focus. So this is a photo from way back in the day. I mean, this is pretty scandalous probably for when it was shot, because I think it's from like the 20s.
Oh,
And
really?
that's a lot of skin for the 20s. But you can see the way photography used to work, you'd have to sit really still for photos. And that's why everyone looks like they're giving you the stink eye on old photos, is because no one could like hold a smile for 5 minutes. So
I bet you I could.
they would just sit regular. I also learned a weird one. There's like a whole thing where they used to take pictures of like their dead relatives because they would be like perfectly still. It was like a whole, there was
Really?
like a weird podcast about photography back in the day and how sometimes families would like be in the picture with someone who's passed on and they'd be the only person that's perfectly in focus because they're obviously not breathing.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Not to go like dark on you guys, but
Yeah, no. Hey.
we're already like,
Fun
this
facts.
is,
I love fun facts.
Thanks,
but we are
podcasts.
kind of going down a dark road today.
Yeah,
Trust me,
see,
we're happy
Steve, you know what I'm
people.
talking about. So they were angrier back then, probably. So what I'm gonna do now is generally, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm
And
actually
back in the
gonna-
day, they used to do a lot of double exposure,
Yes.
which is kind of wild.
And what's really cool is you guys should look up the people who did manipulations like this before Photoshop existed. Because that stuff, like even I think Salvador Dali did some weird photo stuff with like the
Oh,
cats,
really?
the cat and the milk. Is that
I don't know
Dali?
if I've seen that. But it was two
Like if
photos
you Google
combining...
it, like Salvador Dali cat milk maybe, and I'll keep editing on my screen, and if that's actually what it is, we'll show you. But just in case it pops something weird up, because there's a bunch of weird keywords in there that like, I don't know. So for the timeline, the way I want to edit this is I'm gonna want to, this doesn't need to be a clipping mask. This can stay still. This is gonna stay still. The only thing that's moving around is this rose, and it's already a smart object, so I don't need to worry about grouping or converting a group into a smart object to make the animation work better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into timeline, which is window, click timeline, and you can get one of two options. I think it defaults on create video timeline. And I'm gonna use the video timeline instead of the, oh yeah, see?
Is that it? Salvador Dali. I did exactly
I don't know, I mean,
what you
like, this
said.
is like, old school surreal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't exactly remember. I don't know if he's putting two images together somehow, or if, I don't know what the deal is, but this is like,
Yeah.
this is the OG.
This is like,
Of,
was this like one take? Did they do two exposures? Or is one printed on a film? And it's so fascinating. All that stuff, the way they used to pull off things is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, without any of the tools we use today.
Yeah, exactly. It could.
I mean,
be,
I don't even think
who
I could
knows?
handle like the original Photoshop because there's no undo button.
Yeah, I actually have Photoshop 2 on my machine. I can actually launch that,
Really?
and we'll take a
Oh,
glance
actually, that
at
would
it.
be really funny
Yeah, it's
to see if I can actually
freaky.
edit something in there.
Yeah, oh, that'd be a fun.
Me, wow, that's good, Nathan.
So that was Salvador Dali
Thanks,
back
Kristen.
before Photoshop. Yes, perfect. Yes,
All
we're
right.
doing puns all day today,
Boom.
Emmanuel.
So I'm clicking video timeline. And so
Boom.
now all of my layers are down here in this timeline panel. And if you're familiar with Premiere Pro or honestly any sort of video editing software, the user experience is pretty similar. So right now this kind of automatically sets at 5 seconds. I think that's fine. I'll keep it that way. Let's check to make sure. I don't know if it defaults set timeline frame rate. I'm at 30 frames per second. I think that's fine because I'm not rotoscoping something frame by frame, so I'm not concerned about the frames.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, yeah.
All right, so what I'm gonna do here is the only layer I wanna animate, excuse me, is this, this flower. So I'm gonna drop down this little carrot guy, and I'm gonna go to, I can't remember if it's, I'm gonna try transform first, because, you know, we're all winging it together. And so I clicked this, if I undo what I just did, I clicked this little stopwatch guy, and that's gonna create my initial keyframe. And so I'm gonna scrub a little bit. I'm gonna make another keyframe, and I'm just gonna move this.
So yeah, Emmanuel, just go to Window, Timeline. That'll open up this timeline panel.
And then I'm gonna click another keyframe.
And here you have like little baby Illustrator or
Maybe
baby
I'll move it.
After Effects.
Yeah, like baby After Effects. Baby's first After Effects. And then I can't remember if I can I just copy a keyframe? Nope. What did I do here? So where was this one? Oh no, what did I do? Let's see if this is floating. I want it to loop, so I already know I'm gonna have to change this up a little bit. What am I doing here?
Ooh, thank
See?
you.
Something's not working. I think it's because transform isn't gonna work in this particular one. It's gonna be layer mask position. I don't know. We're doing this together. Let's test
You need
this.
to turn on, you're moving it, right? So turn on transform at the top.
Whoa. Okay, so the issue
There you go.
is I need to keyframe both things at the same time. So this is the funky thing because I'm using this mask layer. And so what I do when I'm making stuff in the timeline is I usually will make something like this into its own smart layer, a smart object. And so I can always go back. I can double click this. This is gonna open and I still have everything in its hierarchy, but it's gonna make it easier for me to go in here now that it's one object. So otherwise I would have had a double keyframe. So I would have had to, every time I set a keyframe with the transform, I would have also had to set a keyframe for the layer mask position. And now we don't have to worry about that because I've put all of that into its own smart object file instead. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna click transform. And let's start dragging this around. Every time I select a new keyframe, I'm gonna drag this somewhere else. We'll eventually make it loop, but right now,
So if you just right click on the layer, select Smart Object. That's how you do that, Emmanuel.
yeah, so like convert to smart object. And I did it with a group, so you can see I kept my black and white layer. I just made sure everything was sort of trapped together because I didn't need that in this other file.
I love
so.
talking about smart objects because, like, maybe you think most people know about it, but
You
like
like
once you
getting
learn
smart?
about it,
Yeah.
if it says smart in the menu, just select it.
Ooh, yeah.
Sorry.
So this is fun. This is definitely not like, I don't like it floating so willy-nilly. I think that to pull off the effect of having what's in my brain right now, I guess is the best way to describe it, I would make it much more subtle. But this is cool. This is a still image that we just made come to life in a few easy steps by just slightly transforming it. I'm gonna try something right now. So in After Effects, I usually just mark, I can copy and paste the first keyframe. But I'm wondering, can I interrupt it right now by doing a keyframe here and a keyframe.
And again, this is nice because this is exactly like After Effects, pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. This is a great way to learn After Effects, I think. Just baby, like not, After Effects is a much more robust program, but if you're uncomfortable keyframing and you're familiar with Photoshop's layout, this is a nice first step to start playing with motion. And then you take those learnings and you start, okay, different layers. Yes, wiggle expression. I love to do in After Effects. So today, oh yeah, so it's floating. But I've got a weird jump.
So yeah, basically a smart object is a separate PSD. It's a PSD inside of a PSD. And you're using it as a container, so you only have one thing to animate.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, we're starting out small.
I don't think you can easy ease. You don't have any
No.
easy
Well, there are some weird little guys, but I don't think there's easy ease here.
What if you right click on
a keyframe?
You get anything you want?
There's probably a bunch of tricks that I am wiggle expression is like, once you learn wiggle expression, you're like, I need to learn expressions because it's stupid that I haven't been using them.
Yeah.
Especially with my neon stuff, because before I was doing it by hand in Photoshop, and so I would go like 80% opacity, 95, 85, 84, and I would go back and forth, and it makes that tension in the neon lights because of the gas moving through the tubes. Yeah. And if you just do a wiggle effect in After Effects with randomizing the opacity, it like wiggles the opacity for you. I don't have to do any of that stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. So I would like to say that anytime you find yourself repeating the same thing over and over again, see if there's a shortcut, because obviously the wiggle expression would do that. We would add that to Photoshop, but honestly, that's why you have After Effects.
Yeah.
So you probably reach a limit at some point with this PSD, and then eventually you'd probably just bring it into.
Yeah, I mean, probably
After
not
Effects.
with this one though, because we're going. I mean, what's amazing to me is with a tiny bit of motion, how much you can really change an image. I mean, it's not, it doesn't always have to be like, whoa, like 50 crazy effects. It's like, oh, we just literally took this rose and sort of slightly moved it around, and all of a sudden, it's a much more ethereal manipulation. I mean, because it's come to life. And I think there's something about when you have the effect in motion versus still, it makes it, even though it's obviously not real, that much more believable, right?
Yeah. You know what'd be really fun about this too? Maybe not, but you could always is there some sort of shadow cast on it, just slightly?
There should be, if we're doing this correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is probably not the correct way to do this, but it's the way we just did it. I can still see a slight bounce. I'm trying to make it so it's floating without. Oh, it's not too bad.
So yeah, Alexander, that's the way to do it. If you want to do a rotation, yeah, you would rotate. You'd have 3 keyframes exactly as you explain. If you wanted to do.
I think you can even. We could even try one. I don't know if I can do double transforms. Let's see. We start like this. Oops. Oop. Oh, here's a funny one. I need to move this. What is this thing called?
Oh, the center
What
point?
are that? Whatever the center point thing is called. You need to move it to the center of what you're rotating.
rotation
Otherwise,
point?
it's going to rotate. It rotates from that point. So instead of rotating from the center, now it's going to rotate the rows. That's a good one.
Rotate that rose.
Oh, yeah. See? Whoa. Bow, bow. This is kind of like yesterday with the skateboarder. So yeah, that's an interesting effect.
That's what's happening.
But yeah, everything is already, this is already a smart object, so it's making it a lot easier. But it's good to know now that I can do both effects. But what's happening is because I'm setting that rotate keyframe here, it's actually like rotating into here. This is like when it's full rotation. So if I wanted to do the rotation, I would probably just do one thing at a time. Where I would
and it's
do,
like Alexander says, like if you want to do a 360, you have to do that in like different keyframes, halfway. Then the other
actually, shoot, move this in the middle again.
All right, thank you. We got a lot of smart people in chat. Thank you for joining us today. This is day 2.
No, I would do
Victoria
180.
Siemer.
You only have to do it twice.
Cool.
So if I click this,
But you have to be careful because you'll discover.
so I go to I like to, right at the halfway point, we're gonna do 180.
But you have to be careful. You can't. Yeah. Well.
I've done it before also by just clicking it in the timeline. Oh, dang it.
Daniel thinks it's pretty dope. I do too. I like resurrecting these old projects.
So it's, it's
bouncing
doing, you
around.
know what it is? It's still
See?
rotating over this center point here. You know what I need to do is I would need to
I think you should. Yeah.
go into here,
Do you just make that a perfect like square?
image. I need to make this exactly, there's too much space around here.
So feel free to get involved. We're doing infographics today. You can check out the challenge tab. They're Illustrator files. We have templates if you want to use them, but essentially just upload a graphic. We'll do that giveaway in about 37 minutes. You can win Creative Cloud.
All right,
for a
now the point is in the center because I got rid of,
Did you?
I cropped it.
Perfect.
I mean, that's like,
Thank you.
it's not like cheating if it works, right?
Ahmed says, I guess you need a crop.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. We're all on the same page. So this is a fun, first exploration of the timeline tool, but I want to do more. So I'll just do my, let's see what we're doing here. I'll move this a little bit. I liked my really subtle. The rotation was too much for me. So I don't know where my first frame was. I'm sure there's a way to do this where you can copy where your keyframe was and match it. So what I'm gonna do is attempt to do that. I think that's kind of close.
So Nathan, you wonder if moving the anchor point on a keyframe moves it every time. I do not know.
Well, it didn't, so that was the issue, is that when we had moved the anchor point and rotated the way we wanted it to rotate, and then
I really like
it was
this.
like doing a figure 8 thing. But the intended
really like
effect that I
this.
had was to have it even more subtle than this. Like if I was gonna post this right now, I would want it to be really, really subtle in its movement. So it's kind of like this weird, they even make like levitating plants and stuff now with magnets. And it's always like really subtle. Like the movements aren't super crazy. I'm imagining this is sort of like a magnetic force where it's kind of like pulsing a little bit, but not. I don't know if that's a real. I was never amazing at science, so I'm not sure what the correct term is.
We do
but
design for a reason.
onwards and upwards. I'm gonna save this. Maybe I'll.
Can we look at some other projects?
Yeah. So I was also looking at. I had made this one, which is also hilarious looking back now. I love making these space babes.
Space babes.
I think it was like a I don't know. It's a weird thing I've been doing for a while, but I think it's fun. And I've got this one image that I've used a different image from that shoot for a different Space Babe, but I think we can make a Space Babe today, and then we can figure out how to animate it.
Yeah.
Which I think would be super cool. So these are just really fun. And so yesterday with Space Cowboy, which I can highlight again at the end, we focused a lot on rotoscoping, clipping masks, and blending options. And today we're gonna go and we're gonna, I think, do most of our focus in the blending modes. Because there is some crazy stuff you can do in blending modes, and it does most of the work for you. I specifically, we'll just, dive right in right now. Also, for those of you who missed it yesterday, my new background is Crying Dawson. It's how I keep myself organized. Poor Leo has been chucked in the trash. All right, where is my...
Everybody really likes the Space Babes.
Where is my... For some reason, my computer is not previewing my images in preview, probably because I have too many things open, but let's see if this is the right one. All right, so I'm gonna open this. I'm not gonna mess with anything in Camera Raw right now. Where I shot, I actually bought crushed velvet, black crushed velvet, because when you shoot it, it absorbs light so well. So there's not a lot of like shadows or anything at all, where you can see the wrinkles in some people's like backdrops and stuff, like especially fabric ones. But I mean, velvet's expensive, but I think it works out really nicely.
Are you saying there's velvet in the back of that photo?
That she's being shot on. The black background is velvet.
Oh, okay. I see. It's absorbing the light, so it's like a pitch black.
For these space images, this is the story of my life. Which one should we do, guys? I don't know. Can you actually tell the difference? It's the hands. I specifically pulled both of these because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do for the stream.
Really?
It depends. Like, do we want to put something in her hand? Because this hand, I think, is a little bit more eloquent on its own. But this one, unless she's holding something, might look like she's like, hello.
Little hand puppet or...
So I specifically, for this series, so you think left one, this one? We'll put something in her hands. Yeah, sure. I specifically shoot on black backgrounds for this so that I don't have to waste a lot of time isolating my image, because what we're going to be doing is using blending modes that work really well on black layers. So what I'm going to do here is there's a few ways we can do this. I could select this and just do the edit, fill, content aware, and that should work. We can do that on both sides. Edit, fill, content aware. I could have also done what I did in the previous one where I created where I just, I create a solid color. I'm using a black background. Oops, I keep doing this. I need to get rid of my print shortcut because do any of you own printers? Because I'm pretty sure that I don't know any millennial that owns a home like inkjet printer.
Yeah, and if it has ink in it, because it's usually like, I need to go buy ink for that thing.
You could also just do this. So I, just like I did last time, ooh yeah, see? Voila.
Oh yeah.
So both techniques work. I don't think it really matters that much. It's about to get crazy with all this other stuff we're gonna put on it. So right now I already feel like I know I'm gonna be putting in a lot of, you guys, yeah. Printers, like who's got time?
Shauna.
Ain't nobody got time for like how many times you have to replace the ink.
Yeah.
Like I can't afford
That's
that. What is it, like $50 a cartridge?
Yeah.
I don't have money like that. So what we have here is, I feel like I'm gonna be adding a whole bunch of stuff. Like I might replace her head with a galaxy and maybe have like parts of her. I like to make it look like The body is being formed by these space images, so I like to pick ones that sort of fit with the curvature of like whatever position the model's in. So like there's some interesting stuff we could do. I keep pointing at my screen and you guys can't see that. There's some interesting stuff we can do here, like maybe to have some stuff like part of her hand kind of like floating out into the ether. And this is kind of an interesting
Galaxy
curve. So you just kind of look at the position you have. The weirder the arms are, honestly, the better these look. So
Okay.
that's why I'm always having people like, woo. I've been my own arm
That's
model
fun.
quite a few times, but then I started getting tattoos, so like I don't feel like dealing with like masking that out. So, so we're back here. What I want to do for now, I can always crop later, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to canvas size, and I'm gonna give myself a lot more breathing room because right now I feel kind of trapped, like everything's there's not enough space above her head. It's making me claustrophobic. So
Just
we'll start with a
need some
square.
room to play in.
I might even make it bigger than a square. I'm gonna just drag this down. I actually don't like, I think I can see like a little bit of pants down here or something. So I'm gonna just, boop, boop, boop. All right. That's a lot more, it's a lot more space.
I like it.
All
Do you
right.
have space images? Do you need help with that?
So that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna do this one together because I haven't prepped for this one at all. And you guys are
Yeah.
gonna see the trial and error in this process where we really are just kind of like, I'm probably gonna plop a whole bunch of images in and not a whole bunch of images are gonna stay in this file.
That's
Is
cool.
essentially what's gonna happen. So I downloaded like, I don't know, like one or two, like, I don't know what this is, but sometimes I like to start with just one. This is probably maybe too noisy. One or two ones that don't have like crazy galaxy stuff right off the bat, just to kind of give the environment of where she exists. And so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do lighten. Boom. This is why I shoot it on a black background. I didn't have to do any work. The only thing I should do is probably just erase some of this out of her because it's gonna get really crowded. I also like screen. They have different effects, but you can see with screen, it's revealed now. I can see the difference between my background and the image I'm using. You see this line?
Yeah, it's pretty
This
subtle on
happens
the
with
stream, but-
different enhance. Can you guys see it now? Well, if you can't, that's good, but I'm gonna fix it anyways. So the first thing I'm gonna do,
So Nathan, by the way, layer masks are huge.
oh
So
yeah.
You just added one. You're painting with black.
We're gonna be using a ton of them. So, but it's this little button down here, this like square with a hole in it, punched in it. You just have whatever layer you're gonna start masking on, and you're gonna, excuse me, click this. I think some people use the paintbrush. I use the eraser tool as my go-to for masking. I think some people just like to use white and black in the paintbrush, just
That's
brush.
what I use.
I use the eraser tool. I can set the brushes the same. I'm not actually sure like what the difference is for this for masking. There probably just isn't one. It's just preference.
Yeah, I've never used the eraser on it.
So I would click this, and then you see my mask is here, and I want to make sure my mask is selected because this is an issue I'm actually going to run into later. Because this isn't a smart object, I can erase this and it's not gonna warn me that I'm not on my mask layer.
Yeah.
So I actually deleted those pixels, and what's
Yeah.
gonna happen is later down the road, I'm gonna be like, wait, I want her head back, and I'm not gonna have it because I erased it 50 steps ago.
Yeah.
So what I should do is I'm gonna delete this layer mask. I'm actually gonna turn her into a smart object right off the bat.
So that makes that a separate PSD.
And then I'm going
protects
to,
everything.
I also could have just pulled this in as a linked file, which would be smart so my file size isn't 4
Yeah.
million, which it's gonna get really heavy because this is shot on my Sony, so this shoots at like, with this lens, this is 5,000 pixels wide, and I made the artboard bigger, and we're gonna be putting a bunch of images on it. So I use the eraser. You can toggle between black and white. So when I'm on, the white brush is actually erasing. But oh no, what if I wanted this white stripe back? I've toggled back to black. I can just paint it back in. And now if I'm on this, it's not gonna let me touch it without warning me that I'm on the wrong thing. And so that's where I wanna be in my life right now.
That's good. It's a good place to be in your life.
So I'm gonna erase this stuff. So this is fun. And I'm sure some of my followers have seen this before, but this series is such a fun little exercise to kind of wake your brain up. It's not too crazy, but you can always do some really weird stuff with it. And today we're actually gonna try to animate it. So that's gonna make it even cooler.
I'll remind you of the challenge. It's all about creating infographics. Check out the challenge tab. You have 23 minutes. That's what that clock is all about.
Black and white. Okay, so I don't like for the most part, I think I'm gonna remove the color of everything and have the color just be with the galaxies. But for now, I'm just gonna add a clipping mask and only have my black and white filter applied to the star field. And that's pretty legit. This also comes with a mask, so if it was like, oh, just kidding, I want some of these stars to be colorful, I could paint in some color if I wanted. It works the same way with erasing out these actual, ooh, that's too much. So we're about to move into we're gonna pick some galaxy images together.
Welcome, Mel. You missed yesterday. If you could just cover what you did. Just kidding. Just cover everything you did yesterday for Mel. Just kidding.
Well, we already did it once or twice, but
no, you're good. No,
we
don't.
can either rewatch.
No.
You can rewatch it.
You
though.
can rewatch it. Exactly. Yeah, but welcome.
And that's fun because you could probably just fast forward to the parts you want. I
Yeah.
hate to say it, I do that all the time on YouTube. Sorry if there's any YouTubers out there that have used your tutorials.
Does it not have a watch at 2 times the speed?
No, but honestly, it freaks me out when people can do that.
I do that, and you know what? You can do that on lynda.com. That's why I love that. You can watch it 2 times the speed. Because some people talk slow. Just get to the point. So, anyways.
I agree.
There is that.
I know people who I've known people who do that for entertainment. They'll watch shows on 2x, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? You crazy person.
I could actually see me doing that, by the way. I would love that.
Oh,
Skillshare does
only
the
so
same
much
thing.
time in the day to finish Westworld.
Because sometimes I just can't even sit through a movie. I'll be like, okay, you know what? 30 minutes in, I'm just doing something else.
All right, so since I have my Adobe account linked to myself, I guess we can go in. You guys can see, I'm actually thinking about taking this technique and doing the same thing with video, but I don't know if we'll have time today, so.
Let's do that.
Let's go into images, galaxy, it's a good keyword, nebula, Milky Way.
Yeah.
Space. Is there a way to also filter out, I don't want other people's photo manipulations. Can I just get photos?
You could,
photos?
Yep.
Does that count as an?
Yeah.
Is this gonna? Get out of my timeline.
So down, exclude people. Scroll down.
Oh, that's good. Because we're making our own person here. All right. So there's a bunch of cool stuff. So let's find a way to make this work better.
If you just got here, we are making galaxy people.
And they're
doing
gonna
some compositing.
It's gonna move.
And it's gonna move.
We
That's
like
awesome.
to move it. So I really like actually looking at her positioning. One of these, this is already kind of at the angle. I don't know, is this the Milky Way? Are there any experts in here? Whatever this guy is, I'm kind of digging, because of the complexity of the stars in the background, this one looks too soft to me, but this one looks like it might be a good fit. I don't know if I can enhance. This one could be kind of cool too, but for some reason I'm digging this one. Maybe this one won't be as colorful. It's probably because I just edited something in black and white. And so instead of saving the preview to my computer, we're gonna save it to Adobe Live.
Sweet.
And I can license it when I'm ready. What else? Let's pick a couple. Ooh, look at this.
Somebody's getting fancy.
Oh, this is kind of cool, but this I can already tell would be
It looks almost like
hard
too fake.
hard to manipulate in what I'm doing. I'm trying to make it so it's a little bit easier for us. This has some interesting textures. This is interesting. This is where I'm just gonna, ooh. This is where I'm gonna spend all my credits. This is cool. This is pretty wild.
I can help you find images or whatever you need. Just let me know how I can help.
We'll start, oh yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna give myself a bunch of options because like I said, I really do go through a lot of images in this process. This is an easy one to rotate. I know this because I've used that kind of shape before. I've used this one once.
Feel free if you guys have any questions. Everybody's pretty quiet
What do you
in
guys
chat.
think? You know, you're just like, sorry, you guys just have to listen to my like monologue.
Just let us know if you have any questions again.
Oh, this is kind of crazy. This would be hard to Photoshop, but I'll do like, I'm gonna pick 2 more weird looking ones. Like, this could be kind of crazy. What is that, like a 3D thing?
So yeah, Nathan, that photo was an eye. Somebody did a composite. And by the way, like, hey, you can contribute to Adobe Stock, by the way. So if you actually end up doing a composite, you can actually submit it to Adobe Stock and sell work that way.
All right.
Oh, want to welcome Roy Lewis as a new Behance user from London. Welcome, my friends. Good to have you here.
I think I should stop looking, but once you start doing this, like, I don't know if you guys
This
do.
is what happened for you yesterday. Because when I
just
got back to like the hotel, met them in the lobby. They were like, you were spending a while going down the rabbit hole.
What's crazy though is that I still didn't find the one.
Ah.
Like, I have a weird thing in my imagination, and I'm gonna keep compulsively looking to finish that piece with what I had in mind, and I won't put it up until it's done. Like,
Oh man, because that was you were trying to replace the cowboy. Was that what you're working on? Yeah.
so here we go. So what am I? I'm in my libraries. So I picked all the stuff, and now it's already in my Photoshop without actually weighing my file down. And so the one I was most into, I think, was this guy. I could just drag this in. And so
to answer your question, other resources other than Adobe Stock, there's also like Unsplash. For in these cases, you might NASA has
NASA.
free
So
images.
NASA, it's public domain. A lot of their images, you need to always check. But if you go on the JPL website, they've got gigantic TIFF files from the Hubble telescope and all these other things. And they're free to use, and I use them all the time. I have a folder, but for some reason it's synced to my iPad, which is in Brooklyn, and not on my computer. So we're not using those space images I've already looked for.
Oh, interesting.
All right, so I've got this stock photo. I'm gonna just put it in its general position, and if I'm happy with it, I'm gonna license it. So there's one big thing I'm already noticing, and that's that the saturation of this image I've just pulled in is way different than the saturation of everything that's going on. This is much more muted. So I either need to pump the saturation up in this, which I'm not gonna do because I think saturation looks kind of gross. And I'm gonna actually go in here. I'm gonna go to luminosity, right? No, vibrance, that's what it's called. And I'm gonna just like chill this out a little bit because it's too much. I might even change the colors a little bit. Actually, you know what? We are gonna change the colors. Selective color. I'm actually gonna slam both of these into a clipping mask right now. Is this the color one? And I'm gonna change maybe my neutrals.
Oh, I've never heard of gratisography. Thank you, Ricky, for that resource.
Let's see. Ooh, red. So this is fun. I've been using this tool a lot more. It's called, what is it called again? It's called selective color. And you can go in and just in each particular channel, just mess with that. So here I'm only touching the yellows, and I can actually turn them into different, so I'm making everything a little bit more red. or like purpley instead of whatever the
That
original
looks like
is
an
this.
eye.
Yeah, it does.
Like, was it composited? I just see an eye.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm already realizing that me picking this star background is gonna look crazy when I paste this with or not paste, when I'm gonna also put this into lighten. Boom. And this is this is why, again, everything, I shot this model on a black background is because I knew I wanted to do a galaxy thing with this. Mm-hmm. And the way lighten and screen work is that they essentially turn the blacks translucent, so it's essentially masking this whole thing without you having to do it yourself. And it took 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. So I'm gonna do what I always do, and I'm gonna cut her head off.
Not again.
I don't know why.
Oh, we have headless people
I
today.
don't know why, but now it's not like I'm just getting rid of it and it's gonna be by itself. This time, this shape is becoming the head, I guess, which I also did in these other ones.
I really do like what's going on with her neck. It's kind of cool. But yeah, dude, work your magic. Welcome, Georgie. Says, wow, good to have you here. And
or is
now,
that too
Carolina.
much? Like maybe she needs, maybe it's just her hair then?
The cool thing is, yeah.
The cool thing is we're gonna have to just bear with me doing this. Like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
No, that's what I like seeing personally.
All right, so let's play with this some more. Maybe shrink this a little bit. Kind of digging it. This actually looks too much like she's doing this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I don't like this. Goodbye.
I love it. Let's try another one. Let's go.
Oops, what am I doing here? I'm gonna just delete out. I don't like this, so we're not gonna use it. I'm gonna try something else instead. Let's see what these, let's see what this one looks like. This one, actually already too fake. Next. Let's see what this one looks like. This one's doesn't have any black in it, so it's not gonna do the same thing we saw with the other ones, but I'm curious. It's kind of cool.
I like looking at the galaxies that resemble parts of her body. So
Yeah.
That's what kind of those clouds are doing.
But it's making the whole image so light. So unless I can try curves.
Jesse likes the choice in image. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Oh, the curves, that worked well.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I pushed the blacks so that more of the image would become translucent.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still, surprise, surprise, not satisfied with this.
Ooh, I think it's pretty cool.
Maybe this is like how we can have some of her get erased though. So what if I go in and I just mask out some parts of this that I think are unnecessary? Like maybe this is just, it's really just this, we're using this line to kind of like split her into like more of like a smoky.
Yeah, I like
a smoky
I like
object.
Part of her disappearing in hidden lines. If you are wondering, Victoria actually, even when she's not like live streaming, she talks to herself like this. Everything she does.
Do. I don't know if that like, does that look like weird?
I personally think you could use parts of that, like keep that.
I'm gonna keep it as an option.
I don't think you're gonna find any one image that's gonna work for all parts. It's gonna take
There's one I
compositing.
have in, so it's the same. It's similar to this type of.
Because that has to be a couple space images composited,
This is disable layer mask. If I bring this to the top.
Is that only one image, one space image?
Oh, it's on a normal. This is one image that I freaking love. This image. It just has such a. It has the elements of that other one that we were interested in, but it has true blacks in it, so it'll do the effect easier. Like I'm actually gonna.
You can use it. Yes.
Paste it in. Is it cheating if I use a space image I've already used before?
Oh.
I don't know. There are no rules when you're making your own arts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and here I need to undo what I just did. This is what I mean. You're gonna paint stuff in, just like wax on, wax off.
Painting on those, probably on those layer masks usually.
All right, so
There we go. Mel has the correct term. It's just part of a series.
some of this is kind of cool.
So, great question. When you design with the watermarked image, will it automatically update when
I license
purchase
it, we're gonna test that in a minute because I'm gonna actually add in, like, I like this as sort of, it looks like she's sort of either being sucked in or coming out of this like gaseous substance. So I want just like one more sort of solidified.
So, to answer your question, the answer is yes, Charles. It will remove the watermark once you license it, as long as you don't go inside of that JPEG, if you will, and mess with it.
Like, this is kind of crazy. So this isn't very realistic, but I think it's kind of cool. So I want to just see what this looks like really quickly.
Hello, Valter. Welcome.
It is kind of crazy, but it's kind of crazy cool also.
Somebody mentioned, yeah, that's cool. Like if you noticed, you know, what a face or like a child in a photo, like push that to its limits, because maybe you do notice something, like combine that with the, you know, sort of the face of a child and, you know, make something new. In fact, you can make infographics today, 7 minutes to get that entry in as part of the challenge. Just go to the challenge tab. I'm going to check out, see where we're at with entries right now.
This star field is too much. Maybe I like this. What do you guys think? Is this like a face of a child? See, what for me, it's also, she's got red hair and there are these like muted auburn tones, so it kind of is blending with the image. So I almost wonder, I haven't done this before, but I'm curious if we actually keep it pretty simple with one other star like background. So we want like, there's a couple ways I've done this before where I've, actually if I go back into here, where I've actually taken some of these parts of this image, and I'm just curious if I can kind of duplicate some of this without actually needing a new. I can also use the fill tool, which I think I'm about to try. So there's a lot of nice stuff. This is how I'm gonna make it so it doesn't look like the other one. There's a lot of really nice stuff over here in this section, so I'm kind of curious if I just make a big selection. I like to use the patch tool, which I also is not what I should be using for this, but to each their own. I'm gonna fill it, and it's gonna content aware, hopefully pull some of these weird little stars, because what I want is I want less of this gas and more of these really cool stars. My issue with the stars I had before is like, this is like, just like, it's a crazy amount of noise. And I might want it for later, but I think it looks cooler to use the same size of stars from this original photo that I'm working with. Ooh, not overlay, Jesus. As you can see, the blending modes all do different things. And so this is like starting to look cool. So it's got some weird little moments. This isn't... where's this one? Is this one?
Yeah, it's got that hard edge.
Yeah, so this is where it's gonna get tricky. Like, do you think we should... I could either flip it. I really like this positioning, but I'm curious if there's a way to do it where it's not quite such a crazy edge. where like this is kind of cool.
Could you have like, does that arch match her shoulder or
Oh,
something?
it does actually. What? Nailed it.
Nailed it.
See, sometimes you just need someone else to just think out loud for you. This is sick. I think this is awesome. She almost looks like she's like on fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
This is it. Nailed it. I'm gonna save it really quickly. Nailed it.
Save your files,
.psd.
folks. Carolina does say nice.
And
Welcome, everybody.
then-
How's everybody doing today? This is looking cool.
Yes. So I actually thought I hated that one, but I might actually bring it back in. I'm gonna try one other before I go back to the one that I deleted and said I didn't like, because I do want to show you guys what it's like to license one of these.
Javier says, hi, Victoria.
Oh, hello. I'm on the other side of the table today. I was the host for Javier.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now it looks like she's like wearing a. Does that look like kind of cornball? Like she's wearing like a weird like hat?
Yeah.
All right. Nope. This is the story of my life.
You almost want to have another swirly thing
I think
for
maybe
her arm.
Maybe this can work again now that we actually have.
I swear that looks like an eyeball.
Or maybe
That's
this
pretty
is
sweet.
like near the elbow, near the hand, maybe. I don't know. Guys, I don't know. Under pressure.
That looks like an eyeball, which is awesome.
I'm going to actually maybe just some more texture.
About 2 minutes before the challenge, the end of the challenge, and I just saw, I think there's one so far. Let's check, let's refresh. Okay, good, we have
All right,
3
while you
entries.
guys are challenging.
You do your thing. You'd like to participate in the contest, but you're under 18. Noza, good to have you here as well. Yeah, I guess you can't be under 18 and win. You have to be 18 or older. There might be something like that. What's that? Yeah, you could still participate in the challenge.
Ooh, I think this is, what is this?
And again, just select the challenge tab right behind chat. And we're not making a logo, we're doing infographics, and it looks like I have 3 in, so they each have about a
Where's that one I just got really excited
33%
about?
chance they'll win.
I said sync.
You don't really talk to yourself when you work, though.
I talk to myself all the time.
Oh, do you? I notice I make sound
Freelance is
effects.
it's a lonely life.
You're interesting, because you're an extrovert? You're
Yes.
not- do you consider yourself an extrovert?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think
And
so.
freelance drove you nuts because you couldn't talk to people and couldn't interact.
Yeah, it was not a good look. I'm not used to being desperate for attention, but lo and behold, I went from, I became desperate. Actually, maybe we'll like use some of this for like, now it kind of looks like maybe like her arm's got like some Thor stuff going on.
Oh, Thor. Really?
Maybe instead of screen lighten, there we go. Like some like, I don't know. There's
talk
some
about-
interesting textures
Let's
here.
talk about Avengers.
No, don't talk about it because I haven't seen it yet, and I won't even look at the chat because someone's gonna ruin it for me. I've been avoiding Reddit. I haven't been on Twitter. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna I want to figure out how to animate this now. So this is like sort of what I'm going for here. I just wanted some of these like little curly Q guys.
In case you need some inspiration. It's the little Thor.
Oh my god. What are those guys called? Blockheads or something?
What are they? What do you call them?
All right, so how do I license this now? How do I just click license image? Does it just disappear?
There's little Thor.
Starfield in deep space, many light years away. I think probably what that's.
He's a bobble. He's a little bobblehead. If you
All
need
right,
some
so
inspiration,
this is
there's the
sinking,
God
and
of
is it
Thunder.
automatically going to disappear my watermark now?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Give it a second. Bing.
Oh.
Gone.
That's awesome. All right.
You're doing great. Oh no. Okay, thank you for the entries. Looks like we have 6 in now. And that clock says 000, so time's up for the challenge. You can still enter, you'll just have to wait till the next segment with Nathaniel Dodson. So.
Okay, so I guess we should go. Should we look at the some of these infographics while
It might get a little weird up in here, just saying, just after looking at a couple of these. You ready? What's that? Okay. Okay, cool. Looks like we have 8. Looks about right. Let's just switching over to my laptop. And again, this is the challenge. You can win 1 year Creative Cloud. That's where we're gonna give it away right now. We have 8 entries. We'll start with this first one from Esther.
Ooh, so what does that say?
Let's take a look. Go a little larger. Oh, this is cool. Again, it was creating infographics pertaining to health. And this meets the requirements and looks cool. We even gave you some templates. The basic shapes came from the template, but everything else looks pretty new. All right, this is cool. Love the color scheme. It's all working fantastic. Sort of like a diet infographic or a health infographic. So good job, Tyrone Henry. Tyrone, if you're in the chat, there you are. Adobe Health infographic. This is cool.
This doctor
So,
looks like he's not
skeptical?
sure of what he's telling me.
He looks like he's up to something.
Oh, just fun. I don't know if I would take his advice.
He's like, well, what you need is. I'm like, wait. Yeah, well, Photoshop does have a healing brush, so I could see that as being part of this health graphic.
That was good.
Adobe a day keeps the doctor away. Thank you for being clever. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Tyrone Henry. Good entry. Let's go on to the next one. Lifestyle Claire Crosses. Let's take a look. Little lifestyle graphs. I like, actually, all of this looks like pretty original. I don't recognize any of this from the template, so hats off
Less
to you.
computer, more sunshine. That is if my slider would be.
Oh, yeah.
My heart's in the other direction. This like more watermelon, less cake, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cigarette versus like fresh air. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
love it. Lifestyle heart. Nice. Moving on to the next one. Shakti's. Changes following yoga
Wow, this
sessions.
is really pretty.
I don't even know how to say that first word, but energy level, mood, stress level.
Enthusiasm?
Enthusiasm.
It looks really weird from like looking
Yeah.
at it vertically. I had to like
Stress level, muscle relaxation, graphs. Oh, this is cool. Like, see how relaxed you are after doing some yoga.
this is like much prettier than any infographic I've ever attempted to create.
Yeah, and like all the colors look good. Oh, now it's gonna get a little weird. Steve Santiago. This is Steve's. Health issues 2018.
No way.
Cold, 72, virus, bad hair, flu, allergy.
Oh man. That's good.
That is pretty funny.
That's so good.
Good job. Again, didn't come from the template, that's for sure. Look at how they did the light kind of spilling on our heads. So, good job. Wild. Thanks, Steve. Freddie Cairns. Health, asthma. Good. You could probably go even with white text. You could go black, could go white, either way there.
Yeah, I would say that for legibility, I think maybe a lighter text might work. Asthma.
Yeah.
All right, this is very educational.
Yeah, this is really good. You can easily see kind of scrolling down. Be healthy, stay healthy. Boys are more likely to develop asthma than girls. Huh. Fascinating. That was really good. So thank you so much, Freddie. 2 more. Alexander Garza's. Sleep hours needed to stay healthy. Oh, help us all. Cool. Yeah, they use
nice.
the template. I think this looks good. Nice illustration.
12 to 15 babies got it made.
Living it up. Well, they are like lying.
I thought they never
They're like,
slept, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
I don't
either.
have kids. I don't. Yeah. Where do you fall, like, in the sleep graph?
Let's see. Wow, young adult.
There needs to be, like... this
actually,
is,
like, maybe less. Like, unhealthy young adult. Is there, like, a... Maybe it's, like, I feel like probably past older adult where, like, you start sleeping less and less.
Yeah, and you wake up at 5 a.m. and...
Like, I've been waking
start.
up on the weekends still at 8 o'clock, and I'm like,
And then you're
what's
like,
the deal? I used to sleep till 2.
All right. Peter Chan's Stay Fit with the Right Foods. Of course, all these are vegetables. This is cool. Colors work, easy to read. Good info. At a glance, I can see the data, and then I can dive into more of the details. So, yeah, green is good.
Nice.
And I like this right here. It was like these different colors. You know you have to help me pick a winner.
Every time.
Oh, sorry. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's get it narrowed down to maybe our top 3.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to work and do this at the same time.
You. This is hard. And just to remind everybody, let me just actually get out of this really fast because these are the templates right in here, Illustrator files. And you can see the first one, they actually deal with just this one graphic right here and change it. There's pie charts in here. Probably not using a lot of those, but those are the ones there. I could turn that off. And then the last one looks like this. So this is the template being used. So going back to our views, I think these are the top, some of the top ones. I personally like this one, Peter Chan's, because again, looks all original. What other ones out of these 7 left? Which ones do you like? This one's really nice too.
Yeah.
That one. Trying to get this down to our top 3.
Let me
Do you want to do
think.
this one just for fun?
I mean, that one
or-
did make me laugh, but I don't know. I think it's always so hard to pick. All right, let me see.
We can kind of click through these again. So this one's awesome. Adobe Health Graphic, awesome. Cool.
Let me see. I kind of was digging this lifestyle one too. I kind
Okay.
of liked.
Yeah.
I think the only maybe recommendation would be to have the sliders like maybe in like slightly different positions instead of like all in the same exact place. Like for me, like too much sunshine, I'd get sunburnt. Can I see the yoga one again too? This one was just so pretty.
Yeah, this one's nice too. We should add this to the list. So, boom.
It's got that like you had me at millennial pink.
That one. Asthma. Again, I think this one probably just needs some more work. Yeah, could use some graphics. It's mostly text. This one's doing well. Honestly, I think it could have done without this sidebar here. Could have been more done better if it was just this image and just these graphics down here. So, again, this is our first challenge of the day. This one's awesome. Super funny. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, honestly, that was a good move.
It was good. All right, so these are our top 4.
All right, guys, help me make this decision because I can't do it by myself.
I'll set these up, these 4 side by side, and then the audience can help us pick. I mean, this one's good. It's definitely, you know, very professional.
Let me see the Stay Fit Calorie Vegetables one. Ugh, I hate Brussels sprouts. We were talking about this last night. I am not a fan. I don't know what's wrong with me. Everyone else likes them.
Who will be our winner? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Feel free to chime in,
what is it
vote
when you
for
yell
yours.
in The Price is Right, where everyone's like,
Yeah, that's
what we want.
That's essentially what we're
Everyone
doing.
yell your number. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, left to right. We have healthy food. People like the yoga one. The plate is great. Stay fit. Plate. Stay fit.
Let's see, we got
3s, 4s, 2.
I wish this would tally it for us. That would be a nice little infographic of its own. 8.
Edgar
nice.
says 8. Hey, why not?
There's a lot of
looks
3.
Like 3 and
3,
4.
I think 3 is the universal winner.
All right, looks like we are going with number 3, Esther's. Esther wins. Congratulations, Esther, for winning the daily challenge, at least the very first one of the day, which is also the hardest because you have the shortest amount of time to work on it. You did a great job, used a little bit of the template, but really customized this, and like totally you can
Woo!
packet ship it, sell it. But not only that, you get Creative Cloud for a year added to your Creative Cloud account if you already have one. So.
All right. So if we want to go back to, I don't understand. My computer hates me right now. It's like too many files. Well, we made something move today, but I'm running out of time now. Let's see if we can just do a quick one. All right. So this actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I've unclicked this. I like keeping all my pixels, so I don't delete cropped pixels.
Yeah,
That's something
I never
that
do
I
that.
didn't like learn about until like a year or so ago. I wasn't aware that that was a choice.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I think this type of crop will look a little bit better. Maybe too much headspace still. I don't know. Like this is a lot nicer. And then what I'm going to do here is I licensed another image just of some stars that kind of were in the same general amount as the stars in this other galaxy image. And so I did this tutorial this morning about how to warp some of these images. And so I'm just going to keyframe, and then I'm going to,
Oh, okay.
I don't know, make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm actually going to drag this to the end. Oh God, come on. Come on, little buddy. I also talk to my computer like it's a real,
Do you have
yeah.
any pets or anything?
no. Well, Garfield, if any of my followers are in here, there's a studio cat in my studio. All right, so let's just test and see this without me actually messing with it too much. Enhance, enhance. So I did not, that's wiggling all sorts of, you know what? Undo. Undo.
How do you
undo.
find freelance work these days?
There's a website called Working Not Working that is really fantastic for finding, but it's more like traditional design jobs. So I have a much less rock and roll day life than the Witchoria stuff.
You do.
I tried to
like
do the Witchoria
UX?
stuff for a year, and I realized that it makes me really unhappy to try to when my art becomes all about trying to make money through it, it corrupts it. And so now I've gotten another job again, and now I'm enjoying Photoshop again, of course.
So when you had to do it full time,
Which isn't for everyone, though. I think it was just me. I think maybe it was the influencer thing. We were discussing this last night. It kind of sucks when someone's like, hey, I don't want to hire you because you make cool art. It's like, I want to hire you because you have 200,000 Instagram followers. And it's like, oh, man, like, can you at least just pretend for a second that you hired me because you like the stuff I make? Let's see. We're going to go to transform. I'm wondering if I can, like, transform this more like a robot would. So instead of me dragging it, I'm doing it.
That's cool. I mean, there's definitely more movement there.
So let's see what this. So this is kind of cool. So I think I would have maybe even done more, but we'll keep it kind of subtle for right now. And then there was something about, I was doing a tutorial today and you can like add a fade to the beginning.
Yeah, that's pretty new. That's newer.
Crossfade?
Yeah, depending on.
Fade?
I don't know what the difference between.
And then fade again?
Crossfade and fade.
And just
in this case, I think would do the same thing.
So this is going to go to nothing, right? So maybe if I duplicate this.
So that is new, adding these subtle transitions.
Get out of here.
In the timeline.
Get out of here.
Photoshop.
You know, we're doing our best. I'm trying to see if I can trick it here. Oh, I bet this needs like a crossfade type of guy now too. Crossfade.
Are those stars? Is that another? Is it a black layer or what is that?
This? No, these are stars.
Okay.
But what's happening is without dragging some stars in the beginning, some stars at the end, it goes from like, if I toggle this one off and this one off, there's no stars because I'm using the crossfade. So I've just temporarily added stars back in just so that it doesn't look like they come out of nowhere. But I'm wondering if it's going to jump now. No. So that's interesting. I'm wondering why it's wiggling, but maybe that's because it's only playing. If you look at the little red next to the time ticker, it duplicate the motion. Oh, that's a good idea. I wonder if that would look kind of like crazy, but let's try. I mean, I don't know if it needs to be placed behind because it's got the multiply on. Let's see what this looks. Okay. Oh, never mind. This looks way cooler once it's loaded. Whoa. So I see something that's bothering me right here. So what I need to do is this needs to have like...
Are you going to do like a perfect loop sort of thing?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Like maybe this fixes it. Anyways, so this is like sort of the same idea. There's an app that I won't name that people have been using on the internet that does this kind of stuff to water and smoke, and I hate it.
Oh, really?
And I think that there's a lot of really neat ways you can do similar things in Photoshop, and it will look better because you can actually control the effect. Oh, my jump's even weirder now. So where is the jump happening now?
So fresh and so clean.
This will also. So, but you play with this stuff. There's so much cool stuff in the timeline that even I am discovering now. So I'm like doing opposites. So I'm fading this one in and fading this one out and fading this one out and fading this one in.
Oh, I see. Because you want the end and beginning to be the same.
So it's not as jumpy. So what we'll do tomorrow is I'm gonna do cinematograph. Well, see now it's, oh, dang it. Oh, I know what I'm doing. So what I need to do now, and I'll show you guys tomorrow. When I export this as a video, we're gonna have to chop the video in half and move the middle part to the front part, and then you move the back part to the middle part, and you do this little fade in between, and it will make it loop seamlessly. And so that's what's happening right now is I'm going from little to big, and then it's jumping right back to little. So I need to fix that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But of course, somehow, because I spent so much time looking at space photos, we ran out of time today.
Fun.
But you know what we didn't? Look at this guy.
Look at our little hovering flower head.
This one looks... Here we go. Now it's smooth. It like does this really awkward wiggly thing while it's rendering, and now it's...
Yeah, once it's cached, it looks
So this one was
pretty good.
easy. All we did is add some keyframes and just manually transformed our rose so it looks like it's floating above the head. And it took, it was a pretty easy process, and it completely changed. This photo is way cooler now.
Yeah.
From a photo to a video.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Super fun.
Hope you guys
Does everybody like it?
were able to
Axel
follow
likes
along
it.
with the chaos.
I
Any
like
quick
your,
questions
I like
before?
your chaos. It's like humanizing. I can see your messy files, and I'm like, yeah, we could all relate. So, very cool. Anel likes it. The head transplant.
Well, I hope you guys have a nice rest of the day
Oh yeah.
or night. Probably a lot of bedtimes that people are staying up past.
Yeah, we always like hearing who's up past midnight. I wonder if anybody's up past midnight wherever they are.
Yeah, we had someone that was up until like 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday.
Yeah. That would have to be like, I don't know, like India, kind of like that direction.
Yeah, it was was it not? It wasn't Cambodia yesterday, was it? It was the Philippines.
I could easily, Philippines.
What's the best way to export it? Great question.
Good call.
So you got this little hamburger.
Axel from Philippines.
Yeah.
1:50, almost 2 a.m. Australia.
You've got a hamburger right here. And so what you're going to do is you can click render video from this hamburger, or you can go to File, Export, Render Video. You could also save this as a GIF, which you would do File, Export, and I still use the old school Save for Web. But we're going to render the video because you can't play GIFs on Instagram. And just make sure that you're in Adobe Media Encoder. You got to make sure that your document isn't... I try to make sure I resize it ahead of time so it's under 1024, because otherwise it's going to get compressed like crazy from Instagram. But for Facebook and other places, you can keep it more high res because it can process better. And I feel like my frame rate was 30 frames per second, so I would want to match that. But you mainly just want to make sure you're exporting H.264. I think high quality is fine, and you just click render. And then it exports the video to wherever I saved this video to.
Which is always like the next question you ask yourself. You're like, where did I put that?
And that seems to be, here we go.
There it is.
And I would loop it, so. Here we go, play it again. Did I do something
is it
funky
looping?
here?
I think it looks good.
My loop is, it's
So
because
we
it's
do,
playing weird.
and one thing we've noticed with people submitting gifts yesterday is like the first and last frame were exactly the same, and that will mean it will stutter at the end.
What shouldn't really stutter? I think, my issue is that my frame wasn't actually, the first and last frame need to match for it to loop, but my frame was actually inside the panel, so it was giving it, if we zoomed in, the way it was before, is I probably gave it 2 or 3 frames, like it was actually here, but when this is scrubbed down, that looks like the end.
Yeah.
But we weren't at the end, we were...
But if you
It
have
needs
them,
to be right outside. It needs to be literally like right, this is the next, like,
yeah,
right here.
there, yeah, exactly, perfect. Because you actually don't want the first and last frame to match. You want it to be the one before.
Yeah, the
'cause
one
it'll
right
actually-
after.
It'll stop and then it will, All right, so we're wrapping it up now. Thank you so much, Victoria Siemer. Follow her, Witchoria, online. Thank you for joining us, Mohammed, and everyone from around the world, Australia, France, Philippines, Florida.
Yeah, thanks for tuning
in.
in.
Yeah, Michael Jarrett's in the house. Nathaniel Dodson up
1919.
next. Super fun. Stay with us.
Yeah, banter.